Alright, so today's video is going to be a little more interesting today because I am going to be reviewing something which I have, number one, have never really had close to any real experience in, since this was something which I just never had my hand in. But also, I want to say that this thing that I'm reviewing as well just turned 15 years old like a week ago. So I want to say that today's video is going to be reviewing the video game from 2008, Grand Theft Auto 4.
Taking my time.
Alright, so I'm going to quickly go into the plot of the video game real quickly. Now, I want to say that I'm not great with explaining plots of things too well, especially video games and stuff like that. But I'm going to try my best to explain it, and I'm going to try to explain the plot real quickly, and then I'm going to go into a few other things I want to talk about the game, the pros and the cons of the game. So let's get into the plot. So I want to say, alright, so there's this guy who's named Niko Bellic who ends up moving to America where his cousin would run a small cab business. And while Niko Bellic is in America, he's in the middle of trying to find this guy who had ended up pausing an event during war while he was with Niko Bellic, and he was in the middle of trying to find this guy named Darko, who comes in later in the story. So there's a ton of characters who Niko ends up working for, not only eliminate people, but also to help deliver things or try to do certain missions. Niko gets caught up with the government with trying to help them. He's also trying to help some drug lords. He would also get an enemy who would want to try to kill him in the middle of the whole process because a job would end up going wrong. It's kind of hard for me to be able to explain because there's so much lore that goes into this game, which I didn't realize that the game went so deep in the story and stuff like that, and I don't think I'm the right person to explain it. So I'm going to talk about some other things of the game which I am thinking that I'm going to be much better to explain. So yeah, let's get into that. Now, I'm going to quickly talk about the graphics of Grand Theft Auto 4 real quickly. Now, the copy that I have of Grand Theft Auto 4 was purchased on the Microsoft Store, and it's also a copy from the Xbox 360. So, now to talk about the graphics of Grand Theft Auto 4, I'm going to have to quickly say that I am playing this game on the Series S, so this is not quite running on native Xbox hardware, but it is playing on Xbox hardware. So, I think if anything, the graphics of Grand Theft Auto 4, it's actually pretty surprising of Grand Theft Auto 4. I'm not sure if it's just the Xbox Series S is optimizing it to make it look better, or if it's just the way that looks. I think that if anything, the graphics of the game are actually fairly surprising. I played this game quite a bit, not only messing around, but also the storyline. The graphics are fairly surprising in my opinion, although that could be something which is probably optimized with the Xbox Series S, because normally if you're playing a game that's on a higher end hardware, it'll try to optimize it to where the graphics either look better and then also the frame rate gets improved. I did experience a few frame rate drops occasionally and stuff like that, and sometimes the game won't quite load some certain things until you get closer to a certain destination or something like that. But in my opinion, I think if anything, the graphics of Grand Theft Auto 4 are fairly surprising. I like the graphics. I think the graphics are very nice. If it was running on 360 hardware, I bet it would look very good as well, but on the Series S, I think if anything, it looks great. Now, I am going to quickly go into some things which I like about the game, but also stuff which I don't like about the game. And then I'm going to basically give my rating of what I think of Grand Theft Auto 4. So one thing which I like about Grand Theft Auto 4 is that I like the map. Now, obviously, the map of Grand Theft Auto 4 is obviously mimicking New York City, which is a real place, although they do call it Liberty City. But the map is very big. I think if anything, it's actually a really nice map to explore and stuff like that. I think the missions are fairly fun. They get fairly intense at times, and I have died a few times and had to do them multiple times and stuff like that. But besides that, I think if anything, majority of the game, I think if anything, is fun. So the mechanics of the game of how the cars work and stuff like that is something which I also do like as well. Because the thing is that with Grand Theft Auto 4, if you want to drive a car, then the mechanics are going to be different if you're driving like a helicopter or a motorcycle or a bike or something like that. That's something which I thought, if anything, it kind of seems like a different choice against what some games games will do, which is kind of make it feel like it's the same vehicle and stuff like that. But I like how it kind of optimizes a different mechanic with each vehicle and stuff like that. I also like the AI as well, which is going into the game, which is basically the pedestrians and the cars and stuff like that. I want to quickly go into the things I dislike about the game now. So I want to say that one thing which I do dislike about the game, which is gonna go into the missions, when you die in a mission or something like that, when you restart the mission, you usually have to start at the very beginning. Now, the very beginning could either be all the way on the other side of town and you have to drive on the other side of town. If you have a vehicle which you have to drive and you can't go to that specific location without that vehicle, then you have to go through the whole process of driving that vehicle. It was a very annoying mechanic to start from all the way from the very beginning of the mission to basically to get to all the way to that point to where you needed to. I don't like how the auto aim for like weapons and stuff like that works, because you could have a certain weapon, or all weapons considerably. If you have the automatic aim on, it will automatically focus on the closest subject. And sometimes if you're in the middle of a mission, that is not the best thing, because if you accidentally focus on another subject, then you could possibly fail the mission or not get the enemy fast enough. And that was something which I disliked the game a little bit, but besides that, I thought the game was okay. But now I need to get into the big part of what I dislike about this game. Now I have to say that this thing which I'm about to mention is one of those things which unfortunately is not something by choice. It's something that unfortunately just happened to happen with me, which is the very last mission. And I will have to say that there is spoilers at this part. So there's this part where Niko Bellic has one of his girlfriends killed, and while at his cousin's wedding and stuff like that, and Niko Bellic gets a phone call from one of his mates, and he has to go and chase one of his enemy characters. And after the whole chase and everything like that, you have to go through this whole process of going to hunt this character. And there was this one scene where Niko Bellic is on a bike and he's trying to chase this boat, and you're supposed to jump on this helicopter, and this helicopter is meant to follow this boat, and you're supposed to use machine guns and all that kind of stuff. Well, unfortunately with me, and unfortunately with other players as well, when you try to jump on the helicopter, there's this part where it says rapidly tap this button, or it'll say either space or A. When I try to rapidly press A, the only result is that you get a glitch. And this glitch unfortunately is that no matter how rapidly you try to press A or a certain button or something like that, you will not get into that helicopter, and you will unfortunately not be able to finish the game. And it is the final mission as well. So that was one thing which I didn't realize. I had gone through the process to try to get this mission complete and then got frustrated at the game, and until I found out that there was a glitch at that, is very unfortunate. And I'm not sure if this is just for the Xbox 360 port or if this is for the PlayStation port or something like that, but unfortunately this is one of those things where the game, for me, it's not one of those things where it ruins the experience entirely, because it's towards the end of the game and you're not even gonna know until you try to finish the game and stuff like that. That's a huge thing, which is the unfortunate part too, because that means you can't complete the game, at least on the Xbox port. And for me, that was very unfortunate to find that out, because that means that if you can't complete that game, then you're left to basically wonder, how am I supposed to complete the game? Or it's not a huge deal breaker until the end, but besides that, time to get into the conclusion. Now, I have to say that the conclusion of GTA 4 is going to come down to a few things. Number one, the storyline. I think if anything, the story and the plot, I think if anything, the story is a great little story and stuff like that. Although there is so much lore in the game that I can't really quite explain it as well, or I'm just not great at explaining stories and stuff like that. But story, I thought, was a really fun thing of the game. The mechanics of the game are nice and everything like that. But the things I disliked and stuff like that were mostly small things besides the ending of the game, which really kind of disappointed me when I found out that I couldn't complete the ending and stuff like that. So I want to say that generally, if I had to give a review of how I thought GTA 4 was, if it wasn't for the ending glitch, it would be at a solid 8.5 out of 10. The game is a really good game. I enjoyed the game. Even when you're messing around in the game, I think if anything, it's a fun game. But because of the ending, I'm gonna have to knock a point off, which means it's a 7.5 out of 10. So I wanna say that if it wasn't for the ending, then it would be an 8.5, but now I'm not sure if it's for the PlayStation port or the PC port of GTA 4, but the ending on the Xbox port, or I'm not even sure if it's for everybody, or even if it happens for everybody. It was one thing which disappointed me, but besides that, I think that the game is very fun. I enjoyed the game. I want to say that thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment, like, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.